Jesus, shepherd of the sheep, who your Father's flock does keep. Safe we wake and safely sleep, guarded still by you. Amen. Lesson for us to meditate upon today is our gospel lesson from John's Gospel in chapter 10 that we read earlier in our service. We'll begin with a prayer. Lord, open now my heart to hear, and through your word to me draw near. Let me your word, your pure retain. Let me your child, and heir remain. Amen. Whether it's a chiropractor or a mechanic or a doctor or a restaurant, there are certain people and certain places we label as good or really good. And maybe you have your favorites that you say, it's not just good, it is a really good restaurant. There's a favorite restaurant of ours that we used to go to that had the best fish fry around, and it was such lightly breaded cod and wonderful French fries and coleslaw and hot rolls and that were easily buttered and soft, and it was all you can eat for $5.95. Pretty screaming deal if you think about it. You don't find those around here for some reason, but that was a great restaurant, not just because of the price, but the food was fabulous. Today we hear Jesus call himself the Good Shepherd. And when you hear him say, I am the Good Shepherd, he isn't just simply stopping and saying, you know, there are a bunch of them around. A bunch of shepherds that are here and there. And, yeah, I'm one of the better ones. No, and he's using that term, I am the Good Shepherd. He's really saying to us and showing us that he is in a class all by himself. And today, as we hear these words from John 10, the beautiful Good Shepherd chapter of the Bible, we hear Jesus speak words to us that are going to calm our souls, put at ease our anxious hearts, and bring us peace. Because as he uses these words as being the Good Shepherd and leads us, his sheep, into his word to feed upon the wonderfully nourishing words of his gospel, we're going to appreciate all the more that picture that Jesus places before us and why we can certainly say, yes, he is the good, in a class by himself, the Good Shepherd. If you look at our lesson today, 5 times in these 8 verses, you find the reason why he is called the Good Shepherd. I'm going to read it again, and I want you to see, can you pick up what is it, the reason why he can claim, I am the Good Shepherd. If you'd like to follow along in the gospel lesson in your bulletin, you can, or just listen. But see if you can pick up 5 times in these 8 verses, he tells me, this is why I'm the Good Shepherd. He said, I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired man who is not a shepherd does not own the sheep. He sees the wolf coming, leaves the sheep, and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the sheep and scatters them. Because he works for money, he does not care about the sheep. I am the Good Shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I also have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. Then there will be one flock and one shepherd. This is why the Father loves me, because I lay down my life so I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down on my own. I have the authority to lay it down, and I have the authority to take it up again. This is the commission I received from my Father. Why the Good Shepherd? Did you catch the 5 things in there? 5 times he says the same thing. I lay down my life. This Good Shepherd lays down his life. Now, if you think about a shepherd laying down his life and dying, it might strike us as, that's really not the smartest move, is it? To lay down your life for your sheep, because now The rest of the flock is going to be unprotected. That flock there is going to be unguarded, and is going to be some good eats for the wolf, because there's nobody there who's going to protect them. But Jesus says, I am the good shepherd, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Notice how he says here, I lay it down for the sheep. And there's something interesting there. It's not just, I lay it down for the sheep, but that word therefore has the idea, I lay my life down in place of my sheep. In their place I go. You know, you hear that picture that Jesus uses of us when he calls us sheep, and he really isn't doing any favors by calling us that. Do you realize that? Because sheep are generally stupid animals. They're ones that tend to have part of their DNA is that they have to wander away. Ridiculously stupid that they have to go in another direction and find themselves in bad territory and away. Now, if you have a sheep that continues to wander away, is there a shepherd when the wolf comes along and sees this wolf coming at him that, well, that's a dumb sheep who deserves what they get because they don't listen? As you listen to Jesus today, and he describes for us being sheep, he says, if you had anybody but Jesus watching over you, guess what they would do? When attacked, and you under attack, they would say, you get what you deserve. You don't listen. You keep causing problems and wandering away and making it more difficult. I'm out of here. But that's not the shepherd that you and I have. We see the one who is there to lay down his life for his sheep. And as you think about us being the ones who love to wander away, how true that is that there is a part of us that loves to wander away from our God. We love to wander away from the shepherd and over to the phone or the texting and talk about so-and-so. And how their lives have been messed up, or did you hear what they did? Who would want to lay down their life for somebody like that, who disregards the will of God? A part of us loves to wander away and find ourselves as being selfish and serving only us. In fact, having it be so that it's all about me or those close to me, and really having others' concerns puts that far away from me. How many times do we find ourselves or find sheep that dabble in drugs or get into abusing alcohol, or we find looking at Jesus and his promises and saying we doubt them and don't trust them, and we wander and stray away from those promises of our God and those commands of God? Who's going to want to lay down their life for a sheep like that? Those who have blasphemed God by their actions and their words. We find ourselves at times wandering and straying and walking to just finally let loose at the end of the day because it's been a lousy day and I deserve to have this time, me time, to be able to just blow off steam, and maybe I do drink a little much, and maybe I do say things that just this one time, I just want to say what I really feel. It's going to want to lay down their life for somebody who disregards and despises their God, who makes themselves God because they're serving them. You don't find somebody who wants to do that. And until we see ourselves as ones who have wandered away and realizing that we have only wandered away into the place where torment never ends, and that my wandering leads me there into this place called hell, not ready to hear about the one who has come for me. But that's where the shepherd, Jesus, comes to us in our gospel today, and he says, I want you to listen to this voice. Because in hell, you're going to find a place where nobody cares about you. you're on your own. You will not experience love, and you will not experience help, and you will not experience delight and pleasures, and nobody's going to care. And then our shepherd says this, but I care. I care about you, my sheep. I care about you so much that when I see you wandering off the path away from me, I have to go after you. It breaks my heart to see you run away from me, to wander away from my fold. And as your shepherd, I can't help but do what needs to be done to be able to rescue you, to bring you back into the fold with me. You know, it was not in Jesus' best interests to pay for your sin, because he would become the sinner. It was not in Jesus' best interests to snatch you out of hell, because he was going to be the one who experiences hell. It was not in Jesus' best interests to deliver you from death, because he was going to be delivered over into death. And yet that's the shepherd that we call good, who doesn't simply do something for himself, but he has your best interest, your soul's interest in mind. In everything he does for you, as a wandering sheep, as much as you've been, we see him as one who has nothing but his sheep's interest in mind. And he wants you to hear these words today that he says, I am this good shepherd of yours. And I lay down my life. And guess what? I take it up again. As we see, it would do us no good if we simply had a shepherd who died. But because we needed one who rose, that's exactly what he did. He conquered and defeated death and took up his life on his own again. That's our good shepherd. And as you listen to Jesus' words today in this lesson, here's the Easter victory message. This is why the Father loves me, because I lay down my life so I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down on my own. I have the authority to lay it down. I have the authority to take it up again. This is the commission I received from my Father. Day by day at home away, Jesus is your staff and stay. He's the one who gently leads you into ever-present pastures, showing you his love by his death and his resurrection. From now until May 20th, next month, you're going to hear at times about a Sunday that's going to be special. Because on May 20th, we have our church picnic, and we also have our preschool's graduation, or moving on Sunday. It's a Sunday in which bridges can be built to those who perhaps don't have a connection to Jesus as of yet as their good shepherd. And as the good shepherd commissions you, his under shepherds, he says, invite. Bring the family, bring the friends, so they can hear the voice of their shepherd. Because that shepherd has as an eternal concern, a never-ending concern, to have more sheep brought into his flock. From now until June 4th, you're going to hear about our soccer VBS Bible camp, a time in which children from our community are going to get to hear the wonderful message of Jesus, their shepherd. Bring them from your family, invite your neighbors, so that these children can sit at the feet of their good shepherd and hear about Jesus. Jesus is the good shepherd who has utmost concern for those who are outside his sheep pen, and he has unending concern that he wants them brought in. From now until July 1st when we have our Freedom and Friendship Festival, a specially designed Sunday for you and I to bring people to hear about the Good Shepherd. We'll have opportunity to invite those to come and hear him. Jesus the Good Shepherd has utmost concern that those who are outside his flock be brought in. An unending concern that more sheep be added to his flock. I want you to notice the very ending of toward the end of our lesson today. We have these events at our church to invite others to come and hear the Good Shepherd. And notice what Jesus says in our lesson. Remember, he uses a very strong term. He says, I must bring them also. I must bring them also. If they don't hear the voice of Jesus, their shepherd, if they don't know him as one who has laid down his life for them, they're outside of his flock. They're facing a wandering away that's going to end up in hell. The Bible's very clear about it. Jesus is very clear. I must bring them also. And how is he going to do it? He says, they will listen to my voice. He uses his voice to bring them. They will hear the words of Jesus. As ones who have been brought into the flock of the Good Shepherd and seen his comforting care and certainty that he provides for us today, let Jesus use your voice. Be the voice of the shepherd. To invite them, to hear, to share with them the good message of the shepherd. You know that as ones who are sheep of the Good Shepherd, we see him as the one that we can say, Jesus, you certainly are good. You are good in every aspect, but specifically today we see, as our Good Shepherd, we know you are good because you lay down your life for mine, and you take it up again. And as my Good Shepherd, you put the words in my mouth to be able to share and to invite and to speak. Lord Jesus, you are my shepherd. And as you leave today, say that prayer to your Good Shepherd, that as Jesus' little lamb that you are, that he gives you those words to speak, knowing with certainty that he is the one whose voice is spoken. And thank him that you have opportunity to be his little lamb. Amen.